Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Bulletproof Mindset, Scotland's #1 health, fitness and entertainment podcast. Okay, today's debated topic is, as you can tell from the title, Ozempic, Wegovy. Now, before you get into today's episode, I do want to say I'm not going to take the standard approach with this of just completely bashing it and being ultra biased towards people not taking it. At the end of the day, I released a stat in here. 50% of people in the next 5 years are going to have an experience with Ozempic and Wegovy, right? So my thought behind this, and over the next couple of episodes that I do, I want to communicate the good and the bad and put out enough information to you guys where you can go, right, I hear what you're saying here, I hear what you're saying there. I'm now going to make an informed decision for myself, because there's going to be a ton of people that just get washed up in the media or get washed up on it's a miracle drug and all this sort of stuff, and I want you to have the most amount of information before taking this drug. So let's get into the episode, but before we do, I need a big favour from you. I'm on the road to 300 ratings on Spotify. If you haven't already and you would like to support the show, the best way you can do is leaving a little 5-star rating on Spotify. Here, if you've already done it, grab your mum's phone, grab your friend's phone, your boyfriend, girlfriend, whoever it is, grab their phone, make sure they've rated as well. And the last honourable mention is, if you are local to the HQ here in Airdrie, every Sunday I am running a lifting club. Check out my social media for more details. It's completely free to join. I'm having such a blast running these. I've been doing it for the last 4 or 5 weeks now, and it's so fun to get people together, lift weights, have a bit of banter, and yeah, just create a bit of a community. Check out my Instagram at Coach Crossar, and without further ado, let's get into today's episode. Fat loss drugs. Is it just lazy people who end up taking this? The episode is finally here. Today we're going to dive into a lot to do with Ozempic, Wegovy. We're going to dive into what it is, the side effects, who should be taking it, who shouldn't be taking it. This is going to be probably a larger series of episodes, because I want it to be digestible and enough for you to understand maybe you're a part of this whole health and fitness culture, maybe you want to be a part of it, or maybe you've just been scarred with so many diets you feel like, why not take this kind of miracle drug as it's been referred to? So there's a lot of information on this, a lot of misinformation around it as well, and it's like anything, you wonder where all this sort of stuff comes from, but it's usually your pal that hears a rumour, and where they head the rumour, they've put their kind of Chinese whispers, they've put their own spin on the story. Before you know it, you're like, oh, just take 2 stabs of this drug and you'll lose 10 pounds. So over the last couple of weeks, I have been consuming a good bit of research, good bit of videos and various different opinions on this, and I would probably say one of the most frustrating opinions I hear is that people who take weight loss drugs like Wegovy or Ozempic, I think, let's be honest, this is the main ones that people are talking about. There may be others out there. Funnily enough, when I was watching a YouTube video on it, an ad popped up, and it was for a different one in the UK. What was that called? Jupiter was another one. So you're going to have so many knockoffs of these brands, but ultimately it all does the same thing. When looking into the research of this, when diving into many different videos that they are online, there's two camps. There's two camps of people that come out of this, right? You've got the one camp that are, any person who takes a weight loss drug is a fat lazy bastard. That's usually what they're referred to as. Not my words, this is what I see online. And then the other side of things, you've got people who are taking it, it's like, this is a miracle drug, this is the best thing ever. Every single person who struggles with weight loss should be taking this, right? So you've got two extremes. And then you've got the people in the middle that hear they're just lazy and just can't commit to anything. They hear those arguments thrown out and they feel a bit embarrassed, but deep down they kind of want to go with it, because on the other side of the shoulder you got this person saying it's fantastic, it's a miracle, every single person can gain success from this, and it's just kind of sought after. So who is right? Well, like anything in fitness, there's never a blanket statement. There's never just a black and white with someone. The answer is always going to be, it depends, and it depends on you and the situation. But in today's episode, we're going to dive a little bit deeper into it. And over the course of these episodes that I release, my hope is that before you make the decision to take it, or whether you're on it, or whether you're considering it, you have more information to make the best decision for you. It's not anyone's place to say whether you should take something or not. I think ultimately you have a lot, even medical practitioners to an extent can really drop the ball on this. And yes, we look at doctors and we look at pharmacists and all this sort of stuff, and we hold them up to a high regard of respecting their opinion, but sometimes their opinion might not fit the kind of lifestyle that you have because of many different things. If you look at the state of our NHS system just now, it's no wonder that the quality of treatment that we can get for absolutely everyone can't be anywhere near 100%, because it's such a revolving door of short-term, kind of this short window of opportunity where you can ask the right questions to get to a diagnosis and then get the treatment. As human beings, we need to be a wee bit more responsible. We need to understand the data, not just jump on any the new diet craze that goes on. There's many people listening to this. You've probably been through about 5 or 6 diets, and if you came across this episode again, you think, finally, I've tried all these diets don't work for me, but this sounds right up my street. So let's get into it then. First of all, what is Ozempic? What is Wegovy? Why is the 2 different brands? To dumb this down, to really, really simplify this, in our body we have different hormones that we release when we do certain things, and when we eat, we have a bunch of digestive hormones. I guess if you bracket them under, they're referred to as digestive hormones, that is released into the body. Now, one of those hormones is called GLP-1. Now, to put it simply, what the hormones do, they can alter and change depending on how much body mass we have, how much muscle we have, how much fat we have, the lifestyle that we live, the foods that we consume. There's so many reasons why our hormones can be different from person to person, and this is where it can get a wee bit complex, because you've probably got a friend and you're like, how can you eat so much food? If I ate that, I'd feel horrendous. Well, that's just an example of where you've got differences in terms of the hormonal profile that you have. So hormones simply are the body's messaging system. So we have all these different functions happening at any one time, and our hormones sort of balance that. And a nice way to put this is, when we look at anyone when they gain weight, right? Usually that is a stress factor that kind of alters our hormone profile. And you've probably seen this where people have super skinny arms, super skinny legs, but this kind of big beer gut. And that can be a byproduct of just your hormones changing or your hormones not firing in the correct way. So hormones are your body's messaging system. They are communicating to different parts of the body, to those cells, and activating those cells. So when we eat food, our digestive hormones start to open up and start to activate and communicate all throughout the body. And one of them is called your GLP-1. Now, what that does, there's various areas throughout the body that this receptor sits in. But for the purpose of today's topic, we're going to talk about the one that's in your stomach and the one that's in your brain. Now, the GLP-1 that is released into your stomach, that is responsible for slowing down the digestive tract. So that stops the food firing through your system. So it's kind of slowing that process down and sending the signal back up the body to say that, look, our stomach has enough food in it and we are pretty satisfied. You've probably felt this when you've had these sort of, like, Whole Foods is a good example, because you can sit and eat packets of crisps and chocolate, because the way the food's engineered, it kind of blunts that signal, makes you want more and more and more. But when you have like a big steak with tons of potatoes and tons of vegetables, you have that, and the time that you let that get into your stomach, you let that go through the digestive system, you're like, you know what, I'm satisfied, I'm full. So that's one part of this. The other part is the brain. So where we feel hunger, where we feel cravings, we've got a GLP-1 receptor that's in the brain, and that can, however that's responding and communicating to our body, that can make you want to eat food, or it can pull you back from food. So what is Ozempic? Now, I'm going to overly simplify this just so we can get through this and you can understand, right, okay, I kind of pieced together a bit of a picture of what's happening. Ozempic and Wegovy are initially the same substance, just with more of it. So it's referred to as a semi-glutide, which is a peptide, where we've taken the copy of the GLP-1 receptor and we've sort of artificially created it and made it into this drug form, okay? Now, when we inject Ozempic into our body, that's what it's doing, is binding to these GLP-1 receptors and artificially changing that signal, changing the response, changing the communication system of what's going on. The difference between Ozempic and Wegovy was just simply it wasn't supposed to be used as a weight loss drug. Ozempic was brought in the scene for diabetics. Diabetics were using this to help them balance out their insulin resistance and all that good stuff. So weirdly enough, we started finding out that people that were taking Ozempic for their diabetes were also dramatically losing weight as a part of a side effect. And I say dramatically, it was like, I think in some cases it was averaging from 10 pounds to 20 pounds of weight loss in what was going on in America. So fast forward from 2017 to 2001, the FDA finally approved Ozempic to be prescribed as weight loss medication. So if you didn't know, obesity is one of those complex issues, but as a society, we are seeing people becoming more and more overweight or more and more obese, which is having a negative impact on society with more health concerns, more health issues. The list is endless, but this isn't going to be an obesity episode. So it's because the drug that was originally brought in play for diabetics, there was a good argument that it could be capitalised on and turned into a weight loss drug as well. So that's where Wegovy came into the mix. So Wegovy is Ozempic, just with a higher dose, okay? As I said, to simplify what happens when you take this drug, this is an injection that you put into yourself and it blunts those receptors that we were saying earlier. Or should I say, it alters those GLP-1 receptors to think we're fuller when we've eaten less food, or not to have as much hunger cravings, and really kind of blunt that signal down. Now here's where it gets very interesting. Hearing all of that, why wouldn't we want to take that? Why is that such a bad thing? Why is there so many people that kind of frown their nose up against it? Now, I'm not going to make this political or go into like who's financially backing it, how much money they're making from it, all this sort of stuff. But when you kind of lay it out on paper, it kind of makes sense, doesn't it? You think, okay, anytime I reduce my calories, my experience has been I do really well to start with, but I struggle to stick to it. If only there was something that made it easier to stick to a diet that I follow. Well, boom, here comes insert new product into the market. And I have had the pleasure with speaking with clients that I've worked with in the past, and I've reached out to a few people as well that I want to work with because they're also going through this just now. Now, of course, not going to name any names or anything like this, but I think it's really important as coaches, we need to really up our game. Personal trainers listen to this. I don't think the right thing to do is just turn your nose up at that and go, oh, people are just lazy. Like, come on, just stick to your calorie deficit, blah, blah, blah. Because the whole move more, eat less movement hasn't fucking worked, right? See coaches that are still stuck in this mind. See if we just had to tell people eat less, move more. Do you not think obesity would have solved itself? Do you really think that someone who is obese or someone who isn't where they want to be with their fat loss journey is sitting there and going, I wonder what the answer is to this? Oh, I can't believe that the writing's been on the wall in front of me this whole time. How did I not know I needed to eat less food? How did I not know I needed to move more? Do you really think that's the answer to helping individuals with their journey? Of course it isn't, right? So what's going to happen here is there's going to be less and less people coming to you as a personal trainer, as a coach, because we are communicating something that we've been shouting about for the last 10, 15, 20 years. There's been a percentage of people that that's worked for, but there's a large percentage of people where that just hasn't filtered through to them. Okay, change up our strategy. What's the next thing that we do? How do we get people involved in health and fitness? How do they get them enjoying it? How do we tap into the behaviours and all this sort of stuff? These are going to be later episodes that I do, but I want to put this part in here simply because if you're of the mindset as a personal trainer or a coach, whatever you're calling yourself, and you're like, stay away from that Wegovy pish, it's a load of shite, then you're going to miss a big opportunity to help people. I think the projections of how many people are going to be taking this over the next 5 years is 50% of adults are going to be expected to have an experience with Wegovy or Ozempic from a weight loss perspective, all right? So there's a good chance that we're going to have clients that come to us, and we also need to be able to not protect them, but make them feel, right, okay, I hear what you're saying. Let's work together and work on a good strategy for you. Because as we rewind to the start of the episode, this is an individualized process. And for some people, this actually might be the best play for them. For other people, it might not be. So we need to start to navigate the conversation to understand, right, how do we manage this, okay? So, breaking this down, we now know what it is, what it does. So who is it for? Is it generally for everyone? Well, one thing we need to communicate is definitely the side effects. And I don't want to do this just to scare people off because, as I said, I am working with a handful of people for free to help them through their Wegovy journey or their Ozempic journey. And through that process, I'm understanding what is the right training intensity, what is the right nutrition protocol, all these sort of things that really, there is support there for some of them, but for three of the people that come to mind, they've just got it through their local beautician, right? So it's like this kind of black market that's kind of cropped up as well. And at the end of the day, it's here, right? There's so much information about it. There's so much dream selling, calling it a miracle drug. So it's going to captivate a lot of people getting their hands on this one way or another. Side effects, first of all, because it's altering or it's modifying from an artificial point of view our digestive system. Our digestive system is strongly linked to everything that you can imagine here, especially the receptor that's in our brain as well. So I'm not saying that this is going to happen to everyone, but we can expect stomach pain because it's slowing that process down of the food that's in your stomach. Fatigue, upset, you ever heard of that feeling? Just go with your gut. I've just got this feeling in my stomach that something isn't right. So weirdly enough, our microbiome or our stomach and how food can affect our brain, we don't quite truly know the extent of what sort of goes on there, which fascinates me. Our brain, and I think I've said this before, our brain and space is two things we know more information about than we do about our gut. So to me, that sounds mental. So it'll be interesting what more information comes out over the years. Now there's a ton of stuff. You can heartburn, runny nose, sore throat, feeling bloated, dizziness, nausea, diarrhea, vomiting, constipation, all these things that you'd probably read any sort of prescription you'll see in the back of it. And if you're like me, I go, that will not happen to me. For a lot of people though, these side effects this could happen. I think for a lot of people this does happen. And this is speculation, so I reckon that what we start to see is this is a massive modification to the food that people eat. And when we reduce the food that we eat, we start to miss on some key macronutrients. So things like sodium, things like our electrolytes, because if we are having takeaways and stuff like that, it's usually there is a meat-based thing. So we start to reduce our meal sizes less and less and less. And there's no wonder that we have this like weird response of backed up constipation, diarrhea, or sickiness feeling, because everything's sort of working in a way that, let's be honest, it's not a natural process. Now, where do the success stories come into this? I am going to do a reaction video. I've kind of created a bunch of success stories where I break down really what's happened, because there's a lot of misleading information on, look at Sandra, she lost 27 kilo. Look at such and such, she lost 9 kilo. The thing that pisses me off the most about this, they show a graph and it's like normal person on their weight loss journey, 110 kilos versus someone on Ozempic, 110 kilos. And it shows you this graph, right? And it's like, oh, look, this person managed to get to 92 kilos, while the person who didn't use Ozempic only got to 98 kilos. You try to tell me that someone losing 12 kilos of body fat isn't a fucking win? This is the whole problem with Slimming World and just weight loss and diet culture. It's so freaking toxic. Why is one result better than another? We shouldn't be comparing the weight and the scale, which brings me nicely on to the next point. We have very little information on the longevity of this because more and more people are using it just now. So I think we'll start to see more information come out. And of course, I'll communicate on anything that I see that does come out. But right now, we see someone losing 10 kilo of body weight and we think, wow, fucking fantastic. On you go, Sheila. Well done, David. These are random names, by the way. Like, if that's your name, apologies. But we kind of throw those great achievements out there. But when we get under that layer, when we kind of pop the bonnet and look under the hood, it's like, you just lost 8 kilo of muscle and 2 kilo of fat. And in some cases, that's been what's been reported on from some of these pharmacists and clinics, which is mental, right? And the reason it's mental is because what that's indicating is if you lost more muscle than you did body fat, you are now in a position where you have higher body fat percentage overall, okay? You having less muscle, you'll have less strength. Having less muscle means there's more of a modification done to your pro-hormones, or your youthful hormones, should I say. Things like how your skin feels, how your hair is, how you just look, move and feel. Your energy is absolutely tanked because you have weakened support system. I mean, just imagine building a house just now, right? And then you've got the foundation of the house, the steel or the wooden. You can tell I'm on construction. What do you call it? You got your wooden beams. You're getting that structure pulled up, right? Imagine just starting to strip away or chip away at that structure. You ever, if anyone's ever experienced like damp in certain bits of wood and you can grab it and you can just twist into it, that's what's happening to our body. That happens to our bones if we don't have the right support system or supporting muscle to back that up. So losing 8 kilo of muscle isn't a win. It's actually a loss. I would rather someone just lost 2 kilos of body fat and it taking them 1 year to do than the person who loses 10 kilos of weight overall and they manage to do it in 10 weeks. We're so fixated on, oh my God, I've got a wedding coming up, I've got a date coming up, I've got a freaking holiday coming up. I'm just going to take this drug because it's going to help me with getting to that goal. It's like, why do you want that goal? Oh, because I know when I'm 16 kilo, I feel better, right? Is that all that you are then? Are you just a weight metric on a scale? You've got nothing else that plays to your character. It's just, oh, look at you, you're 16 stone. Of course not. We are more than that. So what happens when you take Ozempic? Well, the big misconception out there is that when you take this drug, that your body just automatically turns into this fat burning machine and it does it on its own and it doesn't take too much effort to do, which is far from the truth. It is utter bullshit. As we know now, what it does is it helps us suppress our hunger cravings. It helps us suppress the need or want to have food. It helps us feel fuller for longer on a smaller amount of food. So side effects aside, what can you expect when you go down this journey? Well, so from everyone that I've spoken to that's been on this and what I've seen through the videos I've watched online, the two types of people that sort of come out it is, one type of person's like, right, cool, I'm taking this now, I'm good to go. And they change nothing else about their lifestyle. So they're still eating the same volumes of food, but then they've got this extreme side effects that start to happen because they've not really changed anything for their nutrition total and they're sort of forcing through it. A big thing we miss with this is food is an emotional support for us all. So if we don't fix some of the emotional things that's going on in life, then usually if you're used to reaching out for food and you have this sort of emotional eating response, then it doesn't matter what drug you take, you're going to force feed yourself, you're going to push yourself through that, which inherently makes that whole condition so much more worse. The second type of person that I see when they take Ozempic is, okay, cool, I'm going to lose weight and I'm going to lose weight as fast as possible. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to eat less food and I'm going to fucking hammer it in the gym. That is probably the worst thing that you can do and the quickest way to lead to burnout, the quickest way to fuck yourself up, really put a spanner in the works to your health. We all think, okay, losing weight, we will feel healthier. Absolutely not. I know tons of people. In fact, I could probably pick a good 100 people that I've seen that's went on a weight loss journey and has been unhealthier by the end of it. You may feel that as well because you've tried the crash diets, you've tried the celebrity bullshit that's out there, you've tried the 5-2, the no carbs, the no fucking fat. Diets inherently have their place, but the way that it's all marketed is the reason that we're becoming unhealthier as a fucking society, is the reason we're all feeling more unhealthy as a society. And I know that can sound, I can be on my high horse here and say all that sort of stuff, but I've seen it firsthand. I see it with friends, I see it with family, I see it with clients, and it's a hard thing to start to unwind and think, right, through any diet, through any approach to your weight loss journey, having someone like a sounding board in your corner to help you through that sometimes can make or break your journey. And most people that go on this journey, it's like, I can do that. Like if we think about doing something to our house, there's a limit of where we'll do things, right? So for guys, like we like to be the man of the house and we like to feel manly. So you know what? Yeah, we'll put up picture hooks, we'll put up pictures, we'll put up mirrors. But then where do you draw the line? It's like, oh, I want to floor the living room. And it's like, yeah, I can watch a YouTube video, I can do that. I don't know what it is about human beings, but when we look at fat loss or weight loss, we're like, I'm going to do it myself. I don't need any support. That says that's going to work for me, so I'm going to do it. Like, why do we not reach out for help? And that's why in an earlier point I made that as coaches, we need to be kind of open to hearing and helping someone that may be on this journey to help them wind off it. Because as we circle to the last half of this, how do people successfully come off Wegovy? How do they successfully come off Ozempic? Well, I think we'll find that there is a large percentage of people who do gain the weight back. The data is crazy when we see any extreme weight loss, that after a period of time, there's a good 90+% of individuals who end up gaining the weight back. And I know percentage can be very vague, but it kind of highlights the importance of there's a big chunk of people who are going to go into this, be swept up with the masses, take it, get all the side effects, write themselves off, feel unhealthier, lose muscle mass, and then feel shit by the end of it. And then you're thinking, fuck it. Try to get healthy isn't for me. Being a fitness person isn't for me. Being a human being isn't for you then. Wanting to live longer isn't for you. Wanting to be in your friends and family and kids' life isn't for you then. Like, that baffles me, that fitness is seen as, it's people who do marathons and flex their muscles in the mirror. It's like, no, that's not fitness. That's not going to the gym. And that's what I'm here to help you with. I'm here to try and communicate a different side to this, to help encourage everyone. Everyone should be doing some form of lifting weights and be involved with some sort of fitness. And there's many ways to do it. That's the beauty of this. It doesn't have to be like one modality, but we should all be doing something towards this. Now, the last point I'll make on this, because the other episodes is going to be, how do you train? What is the mistakes to look out for? What is the best thing to do with your nutrition? I'm going to cover all this in future episodes, but I wanted to get this one out there. I've also got a pharmacist who works with people as well. He's going to be coming on the show as well. I'm really interested to dive into his story and then get into the questions. So there's going to be a lot on this over the next couple of weeks, because we truly are, especially on the lead up to Christmas. The back half of this year is, if you don't know someone that's on it, you will know. By the end of this year, you'll know. You'll find someone in your circle that is taking this drug. Now, typically, it's women that it's been marketed towards, right? That just seems to be the case when I'm kind of surveying who I deal with as coaching clients and who I'm messaging online. It's all women, and there's been a handful of guys who've been roped into this as well, but it doesn't matter who you are or what circle you're in, you're going to be hearing of people who take this, and we want to be equipped with the best information to have the most informed decision on this. As I said earlier on, I'm not here to try and convince you otherwise. You are an adult. You are capable of making decisions yourself. All I want to do is communicate one side of it and the opposing side to arm you with enough information to make your own decision. Now, with that being said, on the back half of this then, who can have success with this? Is it possible to have success with this? Absolutely. Anyone that's tried to lose weight and went into an extreme fat loss phase or reduced their calories, it fucking sucks. It absolutely sucks. You're in the house and you're trying to think about things. You're like, oh my God, all I can think about is food. I try to go to bed at night and your tummy's doing that weird rumbling thing. Like, of course, if there's a tool out there, why wouldn't we use it? So there is a handful of people that can successfully navigate through that, but ultimately it comes back to behaviours. And one thing that I've heard through stories of successful stories of people taking it is people that, like me, went into a bodybuilding diet and they went into eating all this food because they wanted to gain size, and actually found that they didn't need the same volumes of food because they're not competing in bodybuilding anymore. That's something I trip up with all the time. I've not taken Ozempic, but I've noticed in my own sort of nutritional journey that I was like, I'm still sort of eating food as if just because I go to the gym that I need to be this mass monster. Do I really need like one main meal in order 2 extra meals? Don't get me wrong, I still do it, but appetite-wise, my appetite is massive, but in terms of true hunger, where I can feel satisfied, I found certain foods and certain meals when I eat out, I don't need to have a 3-course meal. Like, I would just use that as an excuse for it. Yeah, get the calories in. And that's I've been unpacking and unwinding some of that psychological state that's been ingrained into me from the late teens and early 20s when I was competing in bodybuilding. So that's where it can be a successful tool. It can be a good awareness, behavioural exercise that you end up doing where you're really asking yourself questions and you're stepping back from a lot and not just looking for a quick fix. Anyone that's looking for a quick fix shouldn't diet. Anyone that's looking for a quick fix shouldn't try and accelerate or speed up the fat loss journey, because it's going to lead to an unhealthier behaviour later down the line. So why rush the process when it's been 10 years of your life in the making? So with that being said, I think we'll wrap up the episode there. I'm really excited to do this next series of Ozempic and communicate all the different points on it, and also have conversations with others out there. I would love to know if you've been on it, what's your experience. You can message me privately, and I can obviously keep your name anonymous, but I would love to know what's happened, how did you find it, how did you get into it, who did you buy it from, the cost, everything. And we can help more people make more informed decisions on whether this should be a part of their weight loss journey or not. And the last thing I'll probably just hit home with, Ozempic is a weight loss product, right? We don't have a weight loss problem. We have a fat loss, fat maintenance, and being able to keep the fat off problem. So we need to start changing the conversation and changing the message. So see, when you see a friend and you've not seen them in ages, you're like, oh my God, how much weight? You look like you've lost so much weight. Cut that shit out, right? Cut that shit out right now. Just give them the compliment. My God, you're looking great. You must be killing it. Leave it at that. Stop making it about weight. Stop glorifying this fucking number on the scales, because it doesn't necessarily make or break who we are as human beings and how healthy we are as human beings. On that note, enjoy the rest of your day. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. A wee bit of rant towards the end. I love you and leave you. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next one.